All right, so today we're really going to dive deep into this topic that I know you've been kind of concerned about lately, and you're definitely not alone.
Yeah.
It's cybersecurity.
Right.
And we're using this World Economic Forum report as kind of our guide for this. It's their strategic cybersecurity talent framework. And it really lays out just what the situation is and what's at stake for all of us, not just the techies.
Yeah, I think what's really striking about this report is how it really brings to light just how global this challenge is. This isn't just, some problem contained to Silicon Valley or something, This is a global kind of alarm bell ringing.
And boy, does it ring loud. Right off the bat, they hit you with this crazy stat. A global shortage of 4 million cybersecurity professionals.
Wow.
And that's right now, today.
Wow.
They're saying if we don't address this by 2030, that number becomes a potential loss of $8.5 trillion annually.
I mean, just imagine, the entire German economy just gone, vanished. Because of this gap, that's the scale. And what people might not realize is just how much it ripples out,
Okay, so let's sort of connect the dots a little bit for our listener. How does this impact their day-to-day life? What does a cybersecurity talent gap actually mean for them?
Well, it means that your data, even something as simple as your grocery store, loyalty card, that's at risk. It's your financial security, your healthcare. Think about it. Everything we rely on digitally is vulnerable.
Right.
Think back to, last year's data breach. Millions of credit card numbers stolen. Or that time when hospitals had to postpone surgeries because their systems went down.
Oh, wow.
That's the reality of this gap.
And it's not just about, hackers and hoodies anymore, right? This report makes it clear that cyber threats are kind of evolving at an alarming rate, especially with things like AI and big data becoming more, commonplace.
Absolutely. And it's fascinating, actually, the way that these technologies are being kind of weaponized, right? Like we're talking about attacks that can adapt, they can learn, they become more sophisticated with each attempt. This isn't your sort of average virus, right? We're talking about automated systems that are designed to exploit even the tiniest weaknesses in our digital infrastructure.
Yeah.
Like a high-stakes chess game where the other side is constantly upping the ante.
So given this, rapidly changing landscape, how does the talent gap kind of exacerbate the problem?
Well, if we don't have enough skilled professionals to design, manage, and defend these systems, then we're always going to be playing catch-up. It's like trying to fight a wildfire with a garden hose. You might put out a few flames, but the fire is going to keep spreading.
Right. And this report really drives home that this is a global issue, not just contained to one country or region. They gave the example of India, a country with a huge pool of STEM graduates, yet still facing a 30% vacancy rate in cybersecurity jobs.
Yeah, and it's not just India. The report highlights how in Africa, with a population of 1.4 billion people, they have a mere 20,000 certified professionals. It's a drop in the ocean when you think about the scale of the challenge.
Right.
And even in developed nations like the UK and the US, filling those cybersecurity positions is a struggle. Almost half of small businesses, which, are the backbone of many economies, they are desperate for this kind of support.
It really paints a stark picture. You've got this huge demand for expertise, but not enough skilled people to go around. But here's where I think this report gets really interesting. It challenges this idea that cybersecurity is all about being a coding whiz.
Precisely. It's no longer just about building bigger, stronger firewalls.
Right.
While those technical skills are obviously crucial, the report emphasizes this growing need for what it calls softer skills, communication, teamwork, problem solving.
It's about having the awareness to not click on that suspicious link or give out your personal information on unsecured websites. But it goes beyond even that, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. We're talking about building a culture of cybersecurity awareness. We need people who can kind of bridge the gap between, the complexities of this digital world and the everyday user. Someone who can explain, here's why that password matters, or here's how to spot a phishing email that's trying to trick you. These softer skills, I think, are really essential to building a more secure online experience for everyone.
So we're not just talking about, hardcore tech skills anymore. It's this combination of technical know-how and the ability to communicate and collaborate, think strategically, that's becoming so vital.
Yeah, it's like building an army to fight this, the invisible enemy, right? But instead of just needing soldiers, we need engineers, we need diplomats, strategists, this whole diverse force that's working together.
And just like any kind of elite force, attracting and keeping the best talent is crucial, right? The report digs into some solutions for this, and it's not just about throwing more money at the problem.
It's exactly. While competitive salaries are important, it's really about creating a work environment that cybersecurity professionals find rewarding and fulfilling, right? A place where they feel valued for their contributions, not just, a cog in the machine.
Right. That resonates even outside of cybersecurity, doesn't it? Like feeling like your work has meaning, that you're making a real difference.
Absolutely. And this report highlights that the need for clear career progression, opportunities for professional development, and really just recognizing the critical importance of the work they do. When you give people a sense of purpose and the chance to grow, that's how you build a dedicated and passionate workforce.
So how do we get people, especially young people, excited about cybersecurity as a career path, especially when, the threats themselves are constantly evolving?
Well, I think it's about showcasing, the excitement and the intellectual challenge of the field. Every day brings new puzzles to solve, new ways to kind of outsmart the bad guys, right?
Yeah.
We need to change the narrative from one of fear and risk to one of innovation and problem solving.
It's almost like we need a whole new generation of cybersecurity superheroes.
Well, maybe not superheroes in capes.
Right.
But certainly individuals with the passion, the skills, and the commitment to, tackle these complex challenges head on. Because let's face it, the future of our digital world really does depend on it.
Okay, so say someone is listening to this and thinking, this sounds really important, but where do I even begin? What are those first steps towards becoming more, cyber aware?
It starts with awareness, understanding, how to protect your personal data, being vigilant about the links that you click, the information that you share online, simple things like creating strong passwords, being wary of phishing emails. These things go a long way.
It's like that old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Exactly. But it also, I think, goes beyond individual actions, Support organizations that are working to bridge this talent gap. Advocate for stronger cybersecurity measures in your workplace, in your community, even at a government level.
This conversation has really, for me at least, highlighted how cybersecurity isn't just this IT issue anymore. It really is woven into the fabric of our daily lives.
Precisely. Yeah. It's time we stop treating it like some kind of afterthought and start recognizing it as the critical business imperative it is. And that requires a collective effort from all of us.
Right. We all have a role to play, from, the CEO down to, individual users.
And that's where those softer skills, again, become even more important, right?
Yeah.
We need people who can bridge the gap between the technical world and the everyday user, Explaining risks in a clear, understandable language and fostering a culture of cybersecurity awareness, I think, across entire organizations.
Because ultimately, we're all on the same team when it comes to cybersecurity.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're all digital citizens now.
Right.
And cybersecurity is part of our civic duty.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground today, those eye-opening statistics, the evolving nature of the threats. But before we wrap up, I want to bring it back to, you listening. What can you do right here, right now, to be more kind of cyber aware?
It might sound simple, but I think it starts with just asking yourself, how important is my data, my identity, my finances? And if the answer is very, which I'm assuming it is for most people, then cybersecurity has to become a priority, not just an afterthought.
So it's not just about waiting for the next big, data breach to make headlines and then scrambling to change your passwords.
Exactly. It's about being proactive. Think of it like locking your front door, even when you're just running out for 5 minutes. Those small, consistent habits, strong, unique passwords for every account, being skeptical of emails that look even slightly off, all of that adds up to a much stronger defense.
And for anyone listening who's thinking, hey, maybe cybersecurity is the field for me, what would you say? What kind of opportunities are out there?
Honestly, the possibilities are kind of endless. If you love problem solving, there's the technical side, ethical hacking, penetration testing, always trying to stay one step ahead of the bad guys.
Right. It's like digital detective work in a way.
It is. But it's not all about code. If you're a people person, there's a huge need for cybersecurity educators, trainers, people who can translate these, complex issues into something everyone can understand.
Right. And we've talked about the importance of those softer skills, and it sounds like that's really where they come into play.
Absolutely. And if you're passionate about policy, There's this growing field of cybersecurity law and governance.
Yeah.
We need people shaping legislation, setting standards, making sure we're prepared for the challenges ahead.
So whether you're, a tech whiz or a policy wonk or just someone who wants to be more, cyber savvy, there's a place for you in this whole fight.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah. And this isn't just about protecting data. It's about protecting people, businesses, our way of life. I mean, in this, increasingly digital age, it's all connected.
That's a powerful thought to end on. The challenges are real, but with awareness, with action, with a bit of that collective responsibility, solutions are definitely within reach. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.
It's been my pleasure, yeah. Stay curious and stay safe out there in the digital world.